All right, this question is kind of the gluten question. We talked about that the other day. So we're asking about what's the deal with gluten and how are oats? What if I decided to make my own bread? What's the best flour to use? And any thoughts on the sprouted grain bread? And so these questions are coming in from multiple people. So first with gluten, and I'll make it as briefly as I can. So gluten is a protein found in wheat products and many grains. And the problem with gluten is that when we absorb it into our system, when we digest it and it starts to float around our bloodstream, the protein structure fragments from gluten are similar to certain things that float around their body. It's called cross reactivity. So as those gluten molecules are floating around, or those proteins sequences are floating around, our immune system sees that as, oh, that's not supposed to be there, let's attack it. But because it's similar to some of our own body's protein structure, then we get friendly fire, especially if you're eating it on a regular basis. Which, think about the American diet. We wake up eating cereal, bagels, oatmeal, breads, toast. So it just seems like it's all flour all the time in the morning for breakfast. And then for snack, we have pretzels, we have crackers, we have cookies, cakes, all that stuff. For lunch, sandwiches, pizzas, stromboli, again, all wheat-based products. We get the dinner, same type of thing. We have pizza, pasta, noodles, macaroni and cheese, all that stuff. So again, it's all gluten-based foods. And same thing with our condiments. It's a lot of ketchup, soy sauce, a lot of different types of sauces that we use on our meals are gluten containing, and it's a thickener. So they use it in a lot of sauces and dressings and stuff like that. So really it's just so common in our society that it becomes a problem because we're just being always exposed to it. And especially if your body tends to react to it and you're consuming it all the time, you're going to have problems. So anyway, so with gluten, that's the issue. So now it's okay, what about oats? So oats is technically not gluten containing, but they're harvested in the same areas, they're stored in the same facilities, and for that reason you get a lot of cross contamination. And if you're sensitive to gluten, it doesn't take much to trigger a reaction. So that's the problem with oats. You can get gluten-free oats, but then some people would say, well, there's similarity between some of the proteins in oats. They may not be gluten, but they might be gluten-like, and because they're gluten-like, they also trigger the same reactions. We see the same thing in beans, for instance. So on a paleo diet or an anti-allergy diet or allergy elimination diet, we exclude beans. And that's for that same reason. They contain protein structures and other things that could get into the body and cause reactions. So that's why I would avoid those things. If you're making your own bread, it's better. So when we get whole grain breads, you're buying whole grain breads that are really probably 10% grains and the rest is just regular white flour. They just add a little bit of the whole grains, or they color it with caramel coloring to make it look like it's healthier. Now, if you get something like a 7-grain bread, well, yeah, so you're getting more fiber. You might be getting some more vitamins in that type of bread. But if gluten is your issue, it's not going to be any better for you. So someone that has celiacs, whether they eat 7-grain bread or white bread, it's all going to cause the same negative effects. So I wouldn't say that whole grains are necessarily better unless you know for sure that gluten is not a problem, which my opinion is that most people have issues with it. If you have it once in a blue moon, fine. And if you do have it, have 7-grain bread or have it the healthiest form possible. But still, I think for the most part, you shouldn't try to eat gluten on purpose and grains on purpose. And that takes me to the next one, which is the grain breads or the sprouted grains. So sprouting the grains, if it's actually sprouted grain bread or you do it yourself, you sprout it, that's probably going to be the lowest impact as far as the grain-based breads are concerned. So, yeah, I would say the sprouted grains are good. Not good, but if you are going to have it, go sprouted. That's going to be the best option because when you sprout it, you break down the shell, the outer covering, and you remove a lot of they're called anti-nutrients like lectins. So it's a little bit better. But again, if you're gluten intolerant or celiacs and gluten causes problems, you're still going to have the same issues, whether it's sprouted or 7-grain or whole grain, or if it's just Wonder Bread. To me, it's all going to cause the same negative reactions. So I would say try to avoid it if at all possible.